What's up, guys? Sorry if there's like hum. I'm just talking about pareidolia a little bit. I think it's the right phrase. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Pareidolia. 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 How the fuck do you say that? Holy shit.
Yeah. Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. But it's this idea where you can see faces in things. That's where the bathroom. You can see faces in things where there aren't faces. So there's like pictures online where there's like houses, for example, where like, you know, there's like a picture of them and it almost looks like there's a face on the side of the house, like based off of how it's structured, like windows and shit and like the door or whatever the hell. It kind of looks like a face a little bit, and some of them always have like expression to them. And I think an example of pareidolia is like a smiley face in general, because a smiley face is like, it's like a simplified version of a face. But I think one of the only reasons why it works is because we have this sort of evolved ability as humans to sort of recognize these like patterns based off of that, like this is generally supposed to be this. So you can draw a face, right, and like a simplified smiley face, and you can recognize it as a face. And I think that's related to this idea that we have almost like this underlying neural wiring that we sort of come with that is designed to sort of recognize a human face when we see it, to make it easier, or to maybe to understand when something is human or when it's not. And I think there's all sorts of funny things related to that, where like, you know, for dogs, for example, you know, probably dogs that, I don't know, it's almost like you can sort of like see a humanness to a dog's face, right? And there's interesting aspects about dogs where when they're panting, it almost looks like they're smiling, right? But they're not smiling, they're just panting. They're just like, you know, they're not smiling at you. But humans, you know, we have this expression where we're going like this, you know, and it looks happy to us. I mean, I probably look fucking crazy when I do that, but like, you know, or, you know, I look insane, but like, it's that kind of thing. But we almost see that in dogs, right? Where they are, you know, they're just panting, or but it looks like they're smiling. Fucking crazy. But that is, I think that's a related concept to this pareidolia thing, where like you can just sort of like you have just this idea of like, you know, or this phenomenon that humans have in their brains, where they can just sort of tell when something is like a human or human-like face. And I think this is part of the reason why cartoonism works in the first place, and it's also, I think, why photos work. I don't think these are any like original viewpoints, but you know, that's how you can have like a comic book, for example, and you can draw like a cartoony face, but it still registers as a human face, or we can understand what that face is trying to convey, or that it's a something that has like intelligence or expression or something, you know, because we think of it as like us. But I think it's related to this sort of neurological wiring that we have. And you have other people who have face blindness. I don't know everything about it, but maybe it's like a something messed up with their neurological wiring, where they have issues with that ability that most humans have. Because for most of us, you know, we don't really have issues with that. You know, like for me, for example, I'm really good at recognizing faces, very good. like I see you once and I'll remember you like forever. It's sort of just how I am. But I don't necessarily remember your name. But you have artists like Chuck Close, who had trouble recognizing faces or something like I said, I don't know everything about it, but he had face blindness where he would something like I don't know if he had trouble discerning like two faces from each other, that kind of thing. And you might have that disability or issue if you have issues with that sort of neurological wiring. Maybe that's where it comes from. That sort of wiring that we're all born with, that probably evolved over millions of years to be able to tell human faces apart from each other, and to recognize when a face is human, and to recognize all the tiny little aspects about their face that say like, you know, oh, they're a little disgruntled today, they look a little upset, that kind of thing. You know, and probably people who were really good at that survived better, because not only could they recognize that thing is a human, but also they can really read faces well. Maybe they could avoid trouble, or they have better like pro-social behavior, have better relationships, more able to interact with people, and recognize when they're upset or when they're happy, or when they're ready to mate or something, or they can tell if they had a good hunt that day or something like that. So scratch my fucking back. Scratch my fucking back. But anyway, I think that's one of the reasons why cartoonism even works. Like, for example, I'm drawing fucking Goku right now. Hard for you to see. So this is a study. I gotta get better at it. But like, if you look at Goku, I mean, like, there's not a person on Earth that looks literally like that. There's not a single person on this Earth, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I've seen, rather. Nobody has these sort of like, because like really look at it, like you look at it, it's like, oh well, it's a cartoon, but like really study his face. You know, I gotta cut my nails. Let me alone. Like there's like his eyes are like, there's like almost like a right angle there. Like it's a very geometric looking sharp angle. There's no person that has that. Like even like if you look at people's eyes, even people have these like sharp eyes or whatever. It's not exactly, you know, it's stylized, but you still read it as a face. It still looks like a human face to you, right? But I think that's the same idea as like pareidolia. Same kind of idea. Anyway, I was thinking of this because of drawing and how people draw and how they figure things out. Kind of thing. I was thinking of this because I've been studying like how to draw like professionally for years. And I'm not very good, I know, but like, but I've sort of recognized, I think, why I haven't really improved. And number one is because my practice was shit. I was rushing my practice and I wasn't doing like perfect practice, as they say. Because they say like really like perfect practice makes perfect. For me. My goal was to draw in like an anime style, at the very least, or like these sort of like cartoony, stylized sort of things, like video game kind of artwork, that kind of stuff. And there's people on the internet who will say all this stuff for like, well, you shouldn't touch that stuff right now. What you should be doing is you should be learning real anatomy. You should be drawing from life. You should be doing like portraiture or whatever, and get all these art books that teach you like this, realistic style. And then once you master that, once you get really good at that, then you can go move on to anime. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about because you're not a professional artist and you're not very good. Maybe. But I know that for me, when I was learning how to play guitar, one of the best things for me for learning guitar, just really playing all this classic rock, different kinds of more modern stuff, I guess. And what I would do is I would pull up a guitar tab, so it would kind of tell you like, here's generally like where to put your fingers, or exactly where to put your fingers. Some of them weren't completely correct. And I would play the song back and forth, and I would just like keep practicing each individual part until I had it under my fingers, until I could do it. But I would have just like where where the tab said or something, I would really try to get all the tiny articulations as well in my fingers, and also here too, to hit it harder when it sounded like it was hit harder, or like, you know, do like, not just do a vibrato, but try to do the exact vibrato that this guitarist would do, because you could just do or whatever, but some guitarists would have this kind of like sounds funny, vibrato, and some guitarists would have like, it was kind of like sharper, like a lot of those like classic rock guys would do that kind of thing, and like ding 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 ding. Like I don't have my guitar, so it sounds funny, but or you have a wide vibrato, like a lot of the metal guys, like this, and that was all in the left hand, or whatever hand they're used for fretting, that kind of thing. So I would try to imitate all that stuff. I paid very close attention to all the subtleties of sound, and I would do that growing up too, with like imitating people's voices, and imitating sound effects in cartoons, things like that, much to the dismay of my sister, probably my family too, and also probably everybody at school. I would sort of like try to imitate sound effects or characters' voices, and I would try to get them exactly right. I always paid very close attention to it, and I could tell, like, if somebody was doing an imitation, it's like, well, you're not pitch perfect with the original, like, performance of that line that you're imitating, like a comedy line from like SpongeBob or something. It's like, well, you're not doing it exactly right. And people would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go away. But like, I think for those people, they didn't really care. It's just whatever. But like, if you really care about that sort of thing, you really care about a lot of Flash animations growing up, like Newgrounds.com, different kinds of things, eBaum's World, Funny Junk, these kinds of websites, and other smaller ones that maybe people don't necessarily know. Fireball 20XL is another one. It's a little bit smaller. I love that website. I was really obsessed with it. Video game director's cuts. There's another one by Randy Solomon, who actually passed away really sadly. He got hit by a car, or he got into a terrible car accident. It's really sad. But he made this, like, he would make sprite animations, and he made this whole series called Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom, which is like this crazy, like, epic battle of like Mario trying to get revenge because, oh no, it was Luigi trying to get revenge because like they killed Mario or something, some crazy thing. There's like 5 episodes. It was nuts, but it totally like blew my like 12-year-old mind. It's wild so much with the kind of stuff that I wanted to do with my life, which is like, I really liked animation and shows and stories, video games. I loved stuff on the computer, like web design and stuff like that. It was all in that era, and I was like 12 years old, learning how to do HTML and you know, trying to make different sprite comics and stuff. I had a website called Handcuff Productions. .tk domains. That's a whole crazy thing. But anyway, I'm getting on a whole crazy tangent. But I was just thinking to myself as I was practicing drawing, like I said, I'm not a perfect artist yet. I have a long ways to go, and I spent a lot of time like wasting my time really, like doing this really crappy practice. But I think it depends on what your goals are with art. And I think there's a lot of people that maybe they go into art because they like this idea of doing like still life paintings. I really have to go to the bathroom. Whatever, I don't care. They like this idea of doing like still life paintings or portraiture. You know, maybe they want to do like a portraiture of someone in their family or something. I mean, hey, if that's your goal, like go for it. If your goal is more commercial, like cartoonism or animation, maybe you want to work for Disney, you want to make your own comics, or you want to draw manga or work in animation for anime, like Japanese animation. These are much more intense sort of professional paths that are different from, oh, I just want to like be able to draw my dog or something. That's a different kind of thing. It's somebody who takes it really seriously. You spend a lot of time on it, and you sacrifice a lot of your free and personal time and best years of your life to work towards this goal. Or youngest years of your life, or whatever. I don't know. You do it any time, maybe, but like I don't want to say that you can't. Like I'm 32, and I already feel like my brain's kind of slowing down, which is really, really sad, because I'm somebody who really likes to learn, and I really like trying to like go towards becoming very good at different skills and mastering things. And even though I definitely spent not quality time on certain things, I tried to take shortcuts and all that. But if you want to do that sort of thing, I really like, my hypothesis is really that you have to spend a lot of time studying those mediums. Like you cannot. These people will write on the internet, just master the fundamentals, and then move